of conversation that will dominate the majority of this show once Luch arrives. And I did get the phone call at 11:58 indicating my phone rings at 11:58 and it says Beliucci. He's not calling just chat. He's calling to tell me that the cleaning ladies were early today. And somehow the cleaning ladies being early means he is going to be late. I don't know how, in Billy's world, time works differently. It's like another planet, another dimension. But you still got time. If you're driving around looking for a place to come grab lunch, come check out the Taps lunch menu, 849 burger baskets. I'm going to be having the Diablos today, a lot of great lunch menu items. Don't forget, Monday nights karaoke, Wednesday nights piano bar, and on Tuesdays and Fridays here, Crawfish, starting at 6 p.m. For any more information about what they've got going on here at the Tap, visit their website, tapbcs.com. Now, yesterday was a rough day for a lot of Aggie fans in terms of news. A&M, or now former Texas A&M athletic director Scott Woodward, going back to LSU, where he's from, where his parents live, where he is a member of the Baton Rouge Country Club, where he attended school in the mid-'80s. And all that is fine. I think when people call you home and you go home, and I don't think any A&M fans would have an issue with him going back to home for Mr. Scott Woodward. But the manner in which it happened, the speed of the process in which it happened, left a whole lot of questions. And here's what, and I'm going to let Billy answer all those questions because he's certainly he broke the national news, so he's way more qualified to answer a lot of these questions than more, especially more so than I am. But one thing that I will say about this whole series of events is that it united the A&M fan base over one common cause more quickly than I've seen in a long time. So whoever is making this bed, whoever the decision makers are that let this happen and let this play out, you've kicked a hornet's nest of a large fan base with that is deeply influential around the state. And so I think what this has done is maybe wake up some people as to A&M is not as untouchable in terms of, or infallible in terms of the decision-making process, and just how valued Scott Woodward was to this fan base. I was really excited. I mean, not excited, but it was kind of like, hey, this is kind of cool to see how everybody's responding to A&M allowing this to happen. And how does this happen? And the fan base is certainly recognized the influence that Scott Woodward has had, and I think that is what angers so many people, because never, at least in my lifetime, my dad was an Aggie, my uncle was an Aggie, and I started coming to Kyle Field when I was 2 or 3 years old, and went to the Cotton Bowl in '93 and saw Quentin Coriat sack Casey Weldon. I've been coming to games for a long time and coming to bonfires, and so at least in my 32 years of life, I don't know that A&M has been set up athletically to do things across all sports with a leader that it had to do those things. They've never been in better shape. So just, there's a lot of questions because of that. And Aggies know what is public record, what Scott Woodward was making. And how does a guy that has done so much for your athletic department, how was he the 7th highest paid coach, highest paid AD in the conference, and almost $500,000 less than the guy down the road in Austin? And Luch has said many times over the slew of radio shows that he's done between yesterday and today, with Paul Feinbaum yesterday, Texas Radio this morning. I believe he had another one last night. It wasn't all about the money. So if it wasn't all about the money, then there's just, again, leaves a lot of Aggies asking, well, how? How does this happen? If it's not about money and we've got the money if we needed to match it, how does it happen? So we'll get Luke.